All right, everybody. Episode ended. All I got was exclamation points across the screen. Mike, go ahead.
Episode 23. Let's go. This is the final battle. The members of Team Gurren make their preparations for the imminent war against the anti-spirals, but Rossiu is missing. However, when Kinon tells Simone about what he really intends to do, both start to look desperately for him. Okay. So we'll start with the heavy stuff about Rossiu.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
a lot darker.
In episodes 9 through 11, we called that the Simone Get Your Shit Together arc. We have called from basically 17 to now the bleh.
And the Rossiu is a shithead.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd be lying if I said I don't at least partially retract some of my comments.
Yep.
Especially once we learn more about what's going on with him.
Yep. Oh, the 2-second conversation with Kinon. I never, and this is not like, that's really real. They went in an incredibly real to life path with Rossiu after all this went down. I didn't think they were going to do that when I first watched the show. Did you think this is what was going to happen?
Nope.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the more I've been watching this, the more patterns you start to pick up. But with Rossiu, of all people,
yeah,
like until we something else I said is that it felt like Rossiu was kind of regressing back to like his father.
Yep.
I didn't realize how literal they would take that.
Mm-hmm. That was, and I also said you would see someone from Adai Village again, way back in that review, and you get to see the two main village people, the heads from. Well, you basically kept Littner Village's head with you the entire time with Dayaka and Liron.
Yep.
But like you got to see Rossiu's and Kamina and Simone's heads come back. Theirs obviously being whatever. But like even at the very end, you got to hear him tell Rossiu that he still thought he did a good job.
That broke me.
Yeah, like he knows something's not good. And oh man. Oh, that is the heaviest the show ever felt to me.
Even heavier than the Simone Get Your Shit Together arc.
Yeah, there's like this to me. Outside of like, I think even more so than the Simone Get Your Shit Together arc, this is the most real moment. Like, this happens kind of thing that the show does.
Like, this is what rock bottom looks like.
Yeah. And again, they portray it. The moment I got terrified and this thought entered my head for the first time, when Rossiu is going past Archenborough carrying all those bags. And he just looks at him and he's like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "Just heading out. Don't always be in such a hurry, man." And he kind of like laughs and then goes away. I'm like, oh no. Oh, no, 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 no. He's deflecting. This is not good. Someone stop him. Stop him now. Oh, that was just like, that was the instant in my head. I'm like, was he carrying anything? Because I'm like, he's got something stowed somewhere. He's going to do something very, very stupid. And trigger warning for anyone that does things like this. This is about to get really real. Really real, really fast. I don't know if I've ever told you this, Mike, but in 6th grade, I'm going to try my best not to cry and get through this. I was almost institutionalized. My mom had to beg for me not to be, and then I saw counselors for years. I was going to commit suicide. Stuff happened with my parents. A divorce was very, very ugly, and my dad did something that, to this day, to me is unforgivable. And it happened in front of me when I was in 6th grade.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it was not good. I had to go through court for it. The issue was not resolved, and I couldn't take it. People that did not know the situation laid into me at all points. My dad's side of the family, which were not at fault in this situation, dropped me like a sack of bricks, and I had it. I got stopped by our school liaison on the way out of school because I left a note on my teacher's desk that I was done with it. That day when I got home, it was going to be done. Mom got called instantly. I got pegged in the school's office. She had to beg for me to not be institutionalized with care. And I cannot stress enough how this show hits almost every emotional chord in my body at some point. And when that happened with Rossiu after he fucked up, that is why to me, like, this was really, really real. And again, I told you that it leads to one of the coolest interactions, 10 seconds in the whole fucking show. When again, he tried to ruin his entire fucking life. You get to see the first time they use the, and I'm going to make sure I don't mispronounce this, spiral perceptual teleportation system, goes through a portal, Keenon screams his name, and he gets his own let me see you grit those teeth moment while he fucking belts Rossiu halfway across that cavern. And
it's one of the most satisfying moments that I was denied a couple episodes ago with Keaton.
Yes. And at that moment when he's like, I was belted like that once too. And I was told when we make stupid mistakes that sometimes you got to get laid out to realize how fucking stupid you're being. And that was it. That was it. I was just like, that was the moment where it was just like all of the stuff that led up to this. I was just like, they're not topping it. The show again and again and again and again and again has spoken to my freaking soul about just stuff about not giving up and all that. I just, you know why I never fucking shut up about this show ever. These moments are the reason why. And just, but before we got to that, there was also some very heavy stuff that was kind of light. I will let you bring it up because I'm going to just bring up the points and we're both going to talk about them so that I do not take over the last 5 episodes because I have feels like to me like I've already talked way too much over the last ones. The book.
Okay, yeah. You and I both kind of grew up religious.
Yes.
I think you still practice while I'm more I'll say agnostic. But
it is because of with this situations, one of the people that counseled me in this time was my youth pastor. That was what it was, but go ahead.
So One of the most rug pulling revelations about the Anai village's religion is that the book is it's not that Rasu couldn't read it. Like he couldn't, but not because he can't read. It's because the text is garbage. It means nothing.
Yeah. It's like it reminds me of like something the Book of Eli levels of like, wait, what? That was a Braille Bible? Huh?
It's basically like the book version of like the Emperor has no clothes or Santa Claus isn't real.
Exactly. And the fact that they actually got to sit and have a good laugh about the fact that he was just spewing nonsense the entire time, even though he couldn't read that book. He was preaching, knowing he couldn't read the book, but then realized that it was just psychobabble in the first place because he actually couldn't read the book.
For such a like heavy first half of this episode, that was like it's one of the funniest moments in a dark period.
Yeah. This was actually, outside of this moment, this is probably the funniest episode of this season. Because, like, the entire presentation with Zeron.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh, man. But before we get too far, there's a small note that I have to point out to people that not enough people catch, that I love so much, that shows to you that the show is back to what the show is. It's so minor, and they never draw attention to it. I mentioned to you that when season 2 starts, the show is presented in a more serious way.
Yeah.
In every manner of fashion, including, you know how they always have the stinger title cards where it's the kanji and all that stuff? In this episode, they go back to the old style.
Nice.
That is such a minor touch, and I absolutely love it. It goes from, hey guys, thanks for sticking with us. We're back to our regularly scheduled program.
Yep.
I had to remember to say that because that to me is so freaking cool. It's so minor, and if you do not think about it, it doesn't mean anything, but it means so much where it's just like, we understand stuff was rough, but we're back to we're going to kick the shit out of some stuff and some mechs and do some explosions. Oh, man. But back to that presentation. Do you remember why I laughed so hard during or why I laughed so hard when the first time they ever meet the Daigunzen and they're getting the shit kicked out of them by it and the leg breaks in the mech and then it heals itself.
Yep.
And then Kamina just screams, "Fighting spirit!" And then he keep fighting. During that presentation, all of them are just like, it's powered by the this of the that. And then all of a sudden, Leron just turns around and goes, "It's fighting spirit. Why didn't you just say that in the first place?" And every time, they do the same joke like 7 times in this episode. And it's funny every time.
Yep. The next part of the presentation is the interstellar moment when Leron is using jargon to explain how like you can find people through the teleportation.
Yep.
And he's like, "Oh, for God's sakes, love is the answer."
Yeah. If love can connect anyone in the universe. Oh, and that also leads to one of the best dialogue moments in the whole thing. I gotta remember exactly what what Keaton said. Where Yoko's like, what he's saying is you could do anything with the power of love. And Keaton's like, yeah, love and spirit. That doesn't sound as good when it comes from you. Kiss my ass.
Keaton's the best.
It's so good that it gets to the point where we're finally back to where we're like, you get to see the adult version of season 1 Team Gurren.
Yep.
And also the fact that, again, like, I don't expect you guys to accept me, but you need to realize that it's not just the humans that want to survive the Earth. And then also
like, cut the shit. You're what Simon picked you. That's good enough.
Exactly. That's all you needed. We need all the help we can get. And to your point about Liron earlier in the presentation, after all the heavy shit happens, and also this is what we have to go back to when I talk about Rasayu and Kinon. It's very ambiguous after he saves him and he gives him the big speech about how he still needs him and we need to get better at this. We can't give up on each other. Kinon like overwhelmingly flips out on how happy she is that she's got Rasayu back.
If that's not an answer, to the question, I don't know what is.
Exactly. And then they have a really, again, it's small, but when they're loading up and he's like, how's it feel to be back in the cockpit, buddy? He's like, it really brings me back. And she's like, I'm not heavy, am I? He's like, no, you're very heavy. And she's like, okay, then I'll move. He's like, no, I want to feel the weight of a single human life. That is ridiculous in that moment. That is such a holy shit line stuck in his version of flirting. And she just calls him a jerk and like hides her head. That's the moment where I'm like, really?
So the lesson we've learned is that nobody on this show knows how to be romantic.
Foreign concept. It's gone. Foreign concept.
Like, not even Daika, I honestly.
No, like at the end when he's hugging her, I'm so lucky. You're embarrassing me. Stop it. But we need to talk about some stuff that will need to be remembered later on. We learn a lot more. We learn a lot more about the Beastmen in a very few short lines. And not even just the Beastmen, about the local fauna that surprised the Earth. And the way they describe it, it sounds like Lord Genome also made the animals people eat.
So what, Lord Genome is God?
That's what it kind of sounds like. When they describe that, they're like, he made the Beastmen, like they talk about the animals and the Beastmen. They said they were all creations of Lord Genome. Like, no one ever stresses that part enough, that Genome just made other living beings because of how much spiral energy he had. He just, there's Beastmen and animals. Like, everybody just kind of washes over that part. And also that they cannot have children because they don't have spiral energy.
Okay. Sure.
Spiral energy means a lot. I'm just saying you pretty much aren't. I want to say they kind of basically don't think you're a living being. I want to say DNA wise, just because you don't have spiral energy. That's what it kind of seems like.
It almost seems like spiral energy is like the show's version of the Force, but it's a little bit more important than that.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That is kind of how they describe it. Especially when we get to the second version of the presentation, when it's Lord Genome talking. And it has to start out with just literally everyone and their mother going, huh? then again, I like they do the same joke 7 times. Again, everyone just looks back, and Leron's just like, "Yeah, I got nothing. I have no idea what he's talking about." And then they do it like he explains how the anti-spiral homeworld, they visualize it as Nia's ring. Because once you've seen something once, you can obviously, it's kind of how this has always been told to me, and it's been told to me by smart enough people to where I believe it's true. Like, the human brain can't make up a new face. Like, so if you have dreams about someone, like you can only have dreams about people that you've seen at some point in your life. Like, the human brain can't make a new human face. It has to be something you've seen.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's like, if you ever, this is a bit of a sidetrack, but there's a website that has an algorithm where a computer like takes images and makes new human faces. It's weird. I'll have to send you the link. It's from Unis Honest, a video series that Markiplier did with another YouTuber named Ethan Nestor, where they found a thing during quarantine because they couldn't do regular stuff where it like you press a button and then it compiles images from the internet to make a human face that just isn't a person. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And it goes to show just how, even with how powerful the human brain is, it can't make a new face. They're just that unique that it can't make one.
So that's why like, to explain how this teleportation works,
yep.
they have to like basically focus on like a single item.
Yep.
It's kind of like how Goku's instant transmission works.
Yep.
He has to focus on like the energy of the person he's trying to find.
Exactly. And it's close to that with the extra added. It has to be something they have seen, technically. I believe that's how they go into more detail in the next coming episodes, but it has to be basically, you've seen this thing in your life before, and that's how you percept it. What is the... Oh, man. Leron mentions it. It's a theory. It's a something universe theory. I can't remember exactly.
Oh, the quantum universe theory?
Quantum universe theory. Thank you. Where you can only, like, your mind can only comprehend it when you're looking at it. I believe that was what he was getting at. I have to remember exactly what it is, but it's like, it only when it comes into your perception can you truly see it. Like, your brain has to figure out what you think it looks like. But yeah. Are you looking it up right now?
I'm trying to find it.
Okay. All right. That's fine. But yeah, and then the last half of this, outside of the explanation of how the warp happened to save Rassiu, they talk about that's how they're going to attempt to find the spiral homeworld, because they're hidden. How did he explain that? In between the 11th and 12th dimension.
It's the 10th and the 11th.
10th and the 11th, thank you. In something that literally it's hidden between the dimensions, and they're trying to explain that it's because they couldn't perceive it, they couldn't go to it, but then they figure it out finally because Genome's kind of like, I've been an idiot. That's how it works. And yeah, so we're about to ship off with legit everybody. And I mean everybody, because Simone mentions everybody
by name.
Yeah. They go, hey, remember all the friends we made along the way? They're all here. And you don't believe me? I'm going to name every single one of them down to freaking Buta.
Also, Coco has one of the best moments.
Yep. All he is meant to do is care for Nia. That was why he was made. And what is the thing that he thinks is best to do before they leave? I'll go ahead.
So Simone and Team Gurren are about to go off, but before this, they're stopped by Coco, who comes bearing a gift. that gift, the Team Gurren flag.
Not just the Team Gurren flag, the Team Gurren flag from
their battle 7 years ago.
Exactly, the exact same one they flew at Teplin. That is so damn cool to me. And they literally have Simone landing on the moon and like sealing it right on there. But the best part is even for 2 seconds, they give you one last shot of Kamina's grave before they leave Earth, saying, "Bro, I'll be right back. I gotta go do some things."
One more thing before we wrap. The scene when Simone is like telling like telling the audience like everyone who's coming aboard the mission, Simone gets a new look.
A very, very cool new look.
A very Kamina inspired look,
one might say. He looks a lot like the mysterious figure that was all guns blazing in the intro to the show in episode 1.
Yep.
That badass mofo on the board of the ship, which also, now we could talk about that. You hear Viral's voice for the very first time in that intro.
Oh, seriously?
Seriously. Go rewatch it. It says, "Fire the Maelstrom cannons." That is Viral.
Oh, wow. You're right. It is.
That is so cool when you put that together. And when they zoom out, it's Super Galaxy Gurren that he's standing on top of with the freaking Gurren flag.
By the way, Super Galaxy Gurren.
Because they had to.
This is what I was waiting. This is what I was waiting to talk about, because this is what like a lot of my friends who have seen the show have like how they've like described the series this is how they just like this was actually my first impression of the series.
Okay.
Like I was not told about stuff that came before, or that like the supposed main character dies in episode 8.
Yeah.
No, they described it by jumping right to the end with the main mecha is a galaxy, essentially.
You do not get to see the biggest version of the mecha in the show. Spoiler alert, you still see a cool version, but the biggest version and the most "are you fucking kidding me" version of Gurren you see in the movie. And
man,
well, I can still show you it.
Okay.
That is on YouTube and we will watch it.
Okay.
Promise me you won't watch it until we're done, because we're going to talk about both of them. And there's a photo I have hanging in my room of it, and it is hanging there for the purposes of you not seeing it.
Okay, good.
Okay, but yeah, dude, just in this show, I will tell you right now, Super Galaxy Gurren is a few notches below what you get to see. So, trust me, we still got some room to stretch our legs. Like I said, we had 5 episodes left, and it does not stop. This is just, like the first time they get to Daigunzen, and then they start making upgrades.
Yep.
They just got the Daigunzen right now. And that was a good chunk of time where they got very slow upgrades. Like, hey, it can float in water. Hey, now it can fly a little. It can run up a hill and double dragon kick someone. These are, when it gets an upgrade, it gets a fucking upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
And say it with me, kids. How does it get its upgrades? Through fighting spirit.
Yep.
But yeah. One of my favorite I say that too much. One of the most greatest, simplest moments in the entire show is the whole lead up to all that. And they again treat it like it's nothing special when all of them. Okay, also, the first time you get to see Yoko's last outfit, and Kitan has the nosebleed explosion, is great.
Yes.
But just the moment where like you said, he gets out of Lagann and he steps out and he looks like Simone, as like what Simone would be if he was Kamina. And then all you see is that right there. The moment where he's walking, I'm not bringing it up because it has a quote from the very last episode, but that is him walking up to everybody in there. And then the galaxy's in the background with a quote, but it's just, he just walks up and he's like, sorry, I'm late, guys. And they just start to go and he treats it like they're just going out for a Sunday drive. I'm just like, oh,
What a badass.
What a badass. Yuri Lowenthal, if I could mirror you, I would. He does so good as Simone. So good. And man, so we're on episode 23. 23.
We have 4 more. Yeah, 4 more to go.
4 more to go. So we're going to have to, once we get off, I'll have to talk with you about how we want to do this because, like I said, we're tentatively recording when Thursday night. And I don't want to leave this thing off with just 1 episode left. You have to murder yourself to not watch it till the next night. So we're gonna have to see how we want to do that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that off air.
Yeah, off air. But yeah, they're leaving Earth. They're gone. And before we go, I wanted so bad to put a Facebook message up the other night remember when they were saying that NASA had an important announcement about the moon?
Yeah.
I wanted to so bad, but I was so terrified of you seeing it going, what in the name of Gurren Lagann is going on in here? And I was going to post a picture of the face with the eyes and stuff. And then just have a picture next to it with Nia talking about the human annihilation system. And I'm like, I can't post that because Mike's going to see it. But the last thing about the moon before we go. Before they leave, just to show how ridiculous the show is. All right, hold on. We noticed there's a false pocket of space over there. Flunk. Oh, by the way, they just hid the moon in this handy compartment over here.
Yeah, they pulled out the moon from basically hammer space.
Exactly. Like, and then again, like it's no big deal. Liran goes, all right, guys, now we can leave without anything impacting because we happen to realign the moon where it should be. You don't just do that, Liran.
Good Lord.
I cannot imagine when Steve Bloom signed up for this every day when he went into recording, he just got handed Liran's lines and goes,
I'm having so much fun with this.
I love my job. And a weird thing, I believe this is the only time that Liran does it. He referred to himself as a man in this episode.
Interesting.
That was
I've always like thought of Liran as just
a they.
Yeah, they or just Liran.
Yeah, and it almost makes me wonder if that was just like a translation thing.
Could be.
That's what I'm thinking it was. But yeah, that wasn't even in this episode. That was in the episode previous. I'm very sorry. That was in the previous episode. It was when he was spinning the top in the intro of the episode before when they're getting attacked by the Mugans. Which he was just sitting in a room playing with a dreidel when the Mugans were attacking in that episode. We never mentioned that. But yeah, okay. I have a feeling I know what the answer is. But would you have changed anything about this episode?
Nope.
I figured that was going to be emphatic and it was going to be pretty straight to the point. I have to, just for the sake of me, stop it. Next episode is... Come on, baby. Be good to me. Shut up. That's the next one. Oh, wow. I thought we had an episode, but I won't say what it is, but I thought I had an episode in between that happening. Holy crap. Okay, yeah, wow. It does not stop at all. Holy balls. I forgot that episode happens right now.
You did warn me that this train does not stop.
It doesn't, but I thought they had a minor resting point. This episode was basically the resting point. They were very good to be... That's one thing we didn't talk about. This is very much a... Hey guys, shit's about to go off. So we're going to save a little bit of animation budget. And then have all of us just sitting in a boardroom talking so that we can have all the splodies happen in the next ones. And again, I cannot verify it, but there was a person that was an animator that spewed a bunch of facts out that supposedly they saved 40% of the budget for basically the stretch of the entire show. 40% of the budget for the last stretch of episodes we are pretty much just about to watch.
And
you're going to... Yeah, go ahead.
The next episode, that's going to be this, I assume.
Yeah, it's... I won't say what character, but they have their best moment in the entire series, and it brings up an ongoing joke that gets parodied, especially by Kyle LeBear, quite a bit about something that happens with this character in this episode. He brings it up a lot whenever he does signings. He brought it up when he was signing my print. The other thing, I was just like, good. Even he acknowledges that happens. But yeah, we're gonna have to talk about how we're gonna want to handle that, because I'm not going to be the guy that tells you to wait when we have one episode left. And I repeat, after you watch episode 26, I am not going to be the guy that holds the triple layer 6 different chocolate ice cream cake in front of you that is presented at the end of 26 and says you can't have it. So with that, we got to talk off screen. Mike, where can everybody reach you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Captain K42. Find me on Letterboxd at Coach K42. Find me in all the various Facebook groups just at my name. Check out Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Twitter at Ren Pop Culture. Find all our podcasts on Anchor, Spotify, wherever you listen. Then last but not least, don't forget to check out renegadepopculture.com. Need an escape? So do we.
Absolutely. You can find me everywhere at Organoid Zero, mostly on Twitch, YouTube. I should mention that if you watch this somehow from the future, that starting this upcoming Saturday, I would have been doing Ruby reviews. Holy crap, should I have remembered to mention that? That'll be funny later when you watch this and Ruby Season 8's already done with, because it will be now that I'm doing the math in my head. But yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Again, I love you all more than you know. Anybody that watches this, you mean the world to me. This is my little itty bitty YouTube channel that Mike has been gracious enough to help me spend time on. Any little view helps. And I love you all. Spin on, and we'll see you in the next one.
Peace.